What's up, everyone? Thralls Medley here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick.
I'm Jammin John.
And we have yet another album review for you, and kind of varying up the genres we're covering this week, because we got some absolutely gloomy stuff here for you, because we're going to go over the latest offering from Godthrymm, Distortions. This also comes out on the 18th of August on Profound Lore Records. This band formed in 2017 in England. This is their second album overall, and this was actually an early review for the channel because Tommy and I went over their first album, Reflections, and it was fucking gloomy and awesome, and that was pretty much what I expected on this one, because this is an epic doom metal band featuring ex-members of My Dying Bride, Solstice, and Valenfire. Now, I just recently went over their first EP not too long ago in a collection update in my Florida run, so I was already, kind of refamiliarized with this band. And I don't know if that was enough, because this band has changed a little bit, especially in terms of the lineup. Because this is the first one where Hamish Glencross, his wife, actually joins, Catherine Glencross, and she does keyboards and vocals as well. And believe me, that has added a huge dynamic and kind of opened up some areas to this band's already awesome sound. This is some absolutely monolithically gloomy stuff.
Yep, super sad. I actually have never heard of these guys. Goodness gracious, it is depressive. I am genuinely downtrodden after this listen.
It's about as warm as an English summer, which those are generally involving sleet, clouds, and miserably cold weather, I think.
And we're not too incredibly far from that ourselves, unfortunately. This is like a preview to the dark, gray, never-ending winter that is here in Ohio.
Yeah.
Because
this feels weird coming out in such a warm month. I mean, granted, there's some warmth in terms of the production. I think the bass on here, God, man, I love the bass tone. And the production here overall is absolutely amazing. But the songs are dreary. I feel like the second we started playing this, it should have started raining. Like, it is just mopey, glum, slow. The opening track, As Titans, first off, is 11 and a half minutes long. What a way to start off this album. And it is bleak, slow. The doom-laden guitar harmonies are just fantastically depressing, but also catchy as hell.
Screams Candlemass.
Really does.
Yeah.
Lots of Candlemass, kind of mix that in with My Dying Bride, and definitely some Paradise Lost, but also, occasionally in some of the heavier moments, you get some almost stoner doom inflections like Pallbearer or Monolord. It is, well, regardless of what direction it goes, very sad across the board, and I know, I really loved it. In fact, there's some great nods to Typo Negative on here. The song Echoes, which might have my favorite chorus on the album, is so lush and somber. The synths on here add a lot, and they're not like the most prominent synths.
Yeah, not overpowering at all. They sit really tightly nestled in the backs to where you can kind of hear them, but really it's to add atmosphere. And overall, the atmosphere is not thick by any means. Like, it's just reverb, just a little bit, kind of makes it cavernous, but that's it.
This song in particular, I got huge World Coming Down vibes, but also mixed in with Crowbar, because you have those sullen but heavy, dreary guitar harmonies, and harmonized, everything on here I think is really awesome, because the female vocals and male vocals, the awesome husband and wife duo here, man, do they harmonize well. And it's just a great way to make something that is already sad and glum even more sad. And man, the emotion that kind of comes out in this, it is just, oppressive, but again, so catchy. And one big thing on here that I absolutely loved is all these songs really stand out on their own, and there's a great use of songwriting dynamics. Like, they kind of mix things up a bit. Like, this doesn't hang on and drone too long or lay on one part way too long. There's great song building.
A lot of riffs. Every song. First I started writing good riffs, Devils, Echoes, Obsess and Regress, but then I noticed they all have really good riffs, which makes them all super memorable because of the variance of these types of riffs. Like something I didn't even see coming in Unseen, Unheard. There's actually like a thrashy riff moment, like Maiden meets like
I heard Carcass's heart work for just a second. It's a really interesting transition. It breaks into a gallop with, heavy metal harmonies, but with the thick, heavy guitar tone on here, it kind of made it sound like Heartwork for a second, which is weird because it's transitioning from, like, again, soul-crushing, slow-moving, droning doom to, hey, put a little pep in your step. And I was like, this whole album really isn't about pep. But, okay. The song Devils is, I would say, kind of like the rocker single. I think they even did a music video for this one. That riff on there is instantly catchy. It's got a good stomping groove to it. And it's just like kind of a straightforward rocker, like kind of stays 4/4 time. It's a little bit more mid-tempo. But towards the end, they save all the doom and gloom for the end. There's an isolated bass section where you can just kind of feel the reverberating warmth off of that fucking bass. And then this huge breakdown hits. Like, it is massive, droning riffs. It is heavy, dark, oppressive. It packs a serious punch.
And then you get into songs like Follow Me, the 12-minute and 45-second opus, I guess is what we'll call it on here. The stank-faced harmonized riff in the very beginning. Gross.
Yeah.
Gross.
Once again, very, very Crowbar. My favorite bit of that, though, is after, I believe, the first bridge, it goes into a long instrumental section. And it is amazing to listen to this build because naturally, of course, it starts off super fucking sad. Like, it is one of the dreariest pieces on an already super dreary album. Like, this is sadder than the fucking death scene and fucking, Never-Ending Story for Artex. Like, when the horse just drowns because it's fucking sad. Oh, I know. Isn't that great? Unlike that dumb fucking horse, though, it actually gets out of the swamp and starts building to, like, more, like, I wouldn't say, like, triumphant, but you're kind of digging your way, and then bookends that giant, heavy Crowbar harmonized riff. And that song is honestly one of my favorites on here. Like, I love the fact that there are dynamics you can really pick out, and it isn't all about the emotion, but at the same time does not sacrifice an ounce of that weepy, dark, melancholy, somber vibe. There's probably other adjectives I can't think of for sad right now.
Did you say downtrodden?
Oh, no, I didn't say downtrodden.
Downtrodden.
Downtrodden. That's also this.
But it also adds a lot of really cool dynamics. Unseen, Unheard is actually a very riffy song. There's even some double kick in there. It's got a real thrashy lead. Like, it's not typical doom metal in the sense where it's all slow and all depressive. There are actually some upbeat moments.
Yeah, well, not upbeat emotionally.
Well,
no, no one smiled doing this.
You're less sad. It's like kind of seeing hope. There isn't any, but for just a moment you get a glimmer of it.
The light at the end of the tunnel is a fucking train, and it's about to crush you.
It's like the Velveteen Rabbit when they were finally free of scarlet fever.
Burn him.
They did.
Spoiler alert. And a lot of these songs are longer. In fact, I think the shortest track on here was the one we couldn't get to because it's only on the CD version, In Perpetual Eternum. That's the only song under 6 minutes on this entire album. But again, they don't drag, and they bring different stuff to the table. Again, back to Echoes being this more lush, atmospheric song. I love the vocals on that one, especially. Hamish does a great job in terms of switching from like a more gruff vocal approach to like more subdued singing, and this song is just loaded with that. But the synths on this song in particular, they are so lush, so dreary. The melodies are so good. The chorus is so catchy. It's like lumbering through a graveyard weeping. Like, that is the entire fucking mood on that, and the lead at the end of that is just so good. Like, a lot of this is about feel. It's great songwriting. It's really well done, but man, like, the emotion that is poured into this, again, all of the negative ones, it really works. It really just brings this whole thing together.
And then the closer, at least for us, Pictures Remain, is probably one of the more pretty things on here. Like, it's all really pretty, but Pictures Remain is just super somber, atmospheric, clean vocals, clean melodies. You get some piano. The female vocals come in, and then you get harmonies with that. That's actually one of my favorite tracks, to be honest.
Yeah, the drums don't kick in until like a little bit past the halfway mark. It is this somber, reflective song. You know, like, imagine Nickelback's Photograph, except it didn't suck. And, you know, it was way more sad, and you didn't have to look at Chad Kroeger and his Cocker Spaniel hair. Kind of like that, except nothing like that, because it's actually good. It's a great build-up in that song, and it's one of 2 songs where Godthrymm takes the lead vocals. Most of the time, you know, it's more of a backup vocal thing. Again, she harmonizes beautifully with Hamish on here. But there are a couple of isolated sections where she sings, like the opening track as Titans. You know, she has a great part in there, but there are songs in here where she does more of the lead vocals, and this one and Unseen, Unheard, which really surprised me because, you know, it's kind of leading in very heavy on that song. You think, all right, Hamish is going to come in, kind of gruff it up, and no, she's actually carrying the melody behind a heavy riff, and then Hamish comes in and makes sure to remind you that this is fucking doomier than hell on the chorus. Those sorts of dynamics are really cool, but seeing her really come to the forefront in some of these songs, and this being her first album with them, she's only been with the band since last year, really makes a statement of how committed they are to, like, this big shift in their sound, which, again, it's still rooted in, you know, all the great riffs they were playing before, but her presence adds a lot. And with any doom metal album, I think atmosphere is very important, and not overdoing it. And this band has just the right amount of atmosphere. Again, the keys sitting back, you know, a little bit further in the mix, and they honestly have like an early symphonic black metal tone to them, like early Emperor. But the fact that they don't overdo it, it's not overly lush. They don't, you know, try to like transition into big atmospheric swells all the time. Like, there's a lot of cool isolated pockets of like clean guitars or synths or vocals, but a lot of this really just kind of gets to the point. And I like that because doom is kind of known for taking its time. And granted, these songs are long, but again, these dynamic shifts, the fact that the drum work is a little bit more active, I think this kind of keeps this thing moving, granted at a very slow pace, but a very deliberate and methodical pace to the point where you have time to catch all these cool nuances in the songs. As for any negatives on here, my one negative really isn't much of a negative, honestly. Unseen, Unheard, that weird heavy metal transition, it isn't as though it's bad. I think it's good, but how they transition into it, like, it kind of comes out of nowhere. Like, it legit kind of caught us off guard, and we looked confused. Like, I thought he skipped over to a different album by accident, and no, it's in there. They do bring it back, and there are some more heavy, more up-tempo moments in there, but how they come in sometimes, it was a little jarring. But again, everything they were playing was really good.
Right. And it's not a bad thing because it was entertaining. I just don't get why it's there.
Yeah.
Even though they bring it back, like, there's no real point in this entire record where anything else like that occurs. It was cool, but I don't know necessarily if it fit per se. It made it seem a little bit disjointed.
Yeah, just for that moment. That's the only part on here musically that I thought just didn't really fit as well. But yeah, everything else on here is really fucking good.
Yeah.
I dug the hell out of this. I guess if I was going to make one actual complaint, it's the fact that In Perpetuum Eternal is only on the CD version, and I don't have the CD yet, because I'm going to order this because I really, really like this.
I was shocked to find it wasn't even on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, Spotify, I understand. Sometimes Spotify does leave the bonus tracks off.
Bitches.
But it's not on YouTube. Like, come on. I just want to hear it. Like, I'm sure we'll get the CD and we'll hear it then, but I want to hear it now.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, Pictures Remain is a great, super sad, dreary closer. It's really fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I'm going to give this a solid 4. Honestly, it could border on a 4.5. Like, this is really, really good. And I loved their first album. I think this is better. It is more emotionally engaging. The riffs are fucking gigantic. It's lumbering and slow, but it's also beautiful and lush. Hamish bringing in his wife was a great idea. She adds a whole other dynamic. Those synths are perfect. It's gothic, but it doesn't come across as cheesy. The production's wonderful. Yeah, this band absolutely nailed it. If you were a fan of My Dying Bride, Paradise Lost, I would even throw in again like Pallbearer, and definitely Candlemass. a lot of Candlemass. If you love any of that stuff, check this out. This is an absolutely awesome album.
I'm going to go ahead and give this a 4.5, especially this being my first listen, having never heard this band. This kind of, to me, sets itself apart from a lot of Doom albums by incorporating such great dynamic. The riffs were great, the transitions are cool. I don't know, I just found it very entertaining. Nothing dragged on. Everything was structured really nice. They do a great job of building tension when there needs to be, and there isn't like a whole lot of that, but it just flows really nicely. The production is spot on. I like the fact that they create atmosphere out of almost nothing. The synths laying in the background and just using the instruments to create just that little bit of reverb to create atmosphere really made it sound big and lush while they didn't have a whole lot going on to do so. All the homage that gets paid, in my opinion, to both like Crowbar and Typo Negative, I just thought everything was done really well. It was very entertaining, even though they had a lot of songs, and there's only 7 of them, but even though a lot of them are not under 6 minutes, you figured that they might have potential to drag, but they don't. Very, very fucking sad. Very, like, man, they really lay on that emotion, for sure. They make sure that at any point if you start to get happy, they're just gonna rip it away, and you will weep. And it's like Johnson & Johnson's baby shampoo. You're definitely getting tears.
Yeah, it's like watching the end of Old Yeller on loop, like for an hour.
It's like that first time you watch The Green Mile. Yeah, everybody knows what I'm talking about. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. That would be the first time outside of Old Yeller where I wept like an infant. And if you like Pallbearer and Crowbar and Typo Negative and My Dying Bride and even Alice in Chains, I didn't really comment on that.
There's
vocally, as far as like the male vocals are concerned, I got reminded a lot of Alice in Chains. Very Jerry Cantrell.
And those vocals add a lot. Like there's a lot of atmosphere added by just
by just vocals.
Sad vocals.
Yep. Yeah, the female vocals are great, especially when they harmonize. God, beautiful. Yep, beautiful and pretty and sad as fuck. 4.5 stars.
So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there, there's a link down below, thrallsmetal.com, which is currently under construction, but our Patreon link's on our channel anyway. But when we actually have some shirts, that will open up, and when we have some shirts, we will definitely show them off for a giveaway because we're super proud of this design, and the order is made. They are just finishing the shirts, and once they arrive in a giant box at our doorstep, you will probably know soon after.
Yep. We got a chance to promote some shows October 1st at Frankie's in Toledo, Ohio. That's right, Frankie's is coming back. If you are a metalhead and familiar with this area at all, if you've been to Toledo for a show, chances are that you've been to Frankie's. Anyway, Frankie's has finally come back. They've given us the chance to promote some shows that they got going on. October 1st, Revocation, Unearth, High Command, and Entheos. $25. That's a lot of great music for $25. Come out. Come out to that show. We're going to go. I'm going to go. It's going to be great. This guy's going to go. It's going to be great. Anyway, yeah, happy to be promoting that. And last but not least, thank you guys. Thank you to each and every single one of you that continue to show up and comment and do all the wonderful things you do. Talk to us, Instagram us, messenger us. All those things, thank you for that. We couldn't do this without you. It's become a ton of fun, a huge part of our lives. We look forward to doing this, and it's all because of you guys. Thank you.
Yep, you guys are the real heroes here once again, and I'm just going to go ahead and thank you one more time, and we will catch you later.